I call this falling in love in the first function as we get to the end of the lecture here, and then I'm going to show some examples so that we can see the first and second function in works. But you, I always push for the first function because people are trained to see the second function. In what does something mean, and even an artwork like this, someone might look at it and they might enjoy it, but sometimes someone looks at it and thinks, I just don't get it. What is it? And again, they're looking for second function meaning where it doesn't exist. This is just a celebration of colors. Yeah. And haven't even named this piece. It's just what, 7 by 7, so 49 different little squares that are just choices of color. The big thing as we look at dances is just to look and enjoy the colors, the shapes, the lines. I often say, what are the choices? What did the artist choose out of the entire undifferentiated continuum of things that they could have chosen, to use Northrop's words? What did they choose and how did they put it together? And was it successful in the form and the design? So much of design is about first function. Yeah. And I like to tell the story that I had seen Van Gogh's Starry Night many times in books. I'd passed tests about it, and I was, I knew that work, but I wasn't prepared for that work, how beautiful it was when I first saw it. And probably in 1987 or 88, I saw Van Gogh's Starry Night for the first time. And I almost wanted to cry in front of it because it was so beautiful to see it in real life and to see all of those colors purely in the first functional, what the artist did. So that was an example that taught me a lot about art and taught me about not just knowing the surface of the artwork, but there was always something deeper to go to and deeper to understand and deeper to feel within the work of art. Yeah, so that's really kind of important. And probably so important that I would say, like Greenberg, if you haven't looked at a work of art in the first function, if you haven't looked at its formalist elements, you haven't looked at the art. So it's important to do. Falling in love in the first function, well, I think there's times where there's certain things that they just bowl us over. Like maybe Van Gogh's Starry Night for me, that we fall in love with it in the first function. It's often intuitive, it's often immediate. I like to use this example because many of you know this individual from the dance department. This is Victoria Dale. And Victoria Dale from the Department of Dance, you all know that she's in love with the color purple. Yeah. And I can say that I've known Vicky for over 30 years, and there's no real concrete reason for why, but there's a sheer delight she has in that color. She often wears purple. She's got a purple handbag, purple notebooks. She likes to write with a purple pen on purple paper, and she likes it when her dances are even costumed in the color purple. Yeah. And you can postulate, what is it about that range, that 400-ish to 450, that she is in love with? And it becomes her favorite color. We could even say that maybe if it's like music, maybe those wavelengths are like notes of music that somehow delight her when she encounters them. But whatever we think or postulate about it, in the second function, the reason is still pure, that Victoria loves purple in the first function. She just adores it. So that is her color. That is the color she adores over all the others. She calls herself a purple person, So that's really kind of wonderful. Now, many of you also, some people, like if you designed a house, some people would put more elements of wood in it. Some people like stone. Some people like metal. That all of those things, they like the materials of it. Architects often have to deal with materials. Like, what is the building? Yeah. I often like city center. Like if you go down to city center here in town, it's glass, it's metal, it's wood, it's real elements, and it's not things like stucco. So when that casino suddenly became different than the others, I quite liked it. I liked the design because I liked the materials it was made out of. Yeah. Perfume is another great place to think about the first function elements and how we fall in love with them, because some perfumes have fresh scents, some perfumes have spicy or citrusy scents, and some are musky. Some smell like leather. That there's whatever the notes are. Each of those notes are first functional, and we tend to like what do I want to smell like? When I pick a cologne. Yeah, what suits me and what excites me. Or sometimes we have a couple that we like to alternate depending on our moods and what we feel like in that day. The same thing happens about visual art. That if I took you to the museum, some people might like the visible brushstrokes, those brushstrokes, those wide brush strokes of a Van Gogh. Some people would like the tiny dots of a Seurat painting. Some might like the frenetic chaos of a Jackson Pollock. And some people might like the calm, unfocused, hazy qualities of a Monet. Each of those are first functional elements. The way they painted, the way they got at the subject in the first function is a big deal. Yeah. So always look in the first function. And then what do you fall in love with in the first function? Many of you are dancers. So we could say that if you like the percussive sound of tap, that's a first functional thing. If you like the gracefulness of a Balinese dancer, that's a first functional thing. Some people like the control and the clarity of ballet. Yeah. Some like the sensuality of jazz. Some people like the release and the flow of modern dance. Again, these are first functional elements, and these are things that often we fall in love with, and we have our choices and our preferences, and much the same way that we have our favorite flavors of ice cream or candy, that there are things that we just say, that's the one, or fruits, that's the taste I really adore in the first function. Yeah, it's fantastic.